The forest did not look cursed. That was the first mistake. When people imagine haunted places, they expect warnings: twisted trees, dead silence, a feeling of immediate dread. But the Black Hills Forest offered none of that. It looked ordinary, peaceful even, the kind of place families visited on weekends, the kind of place where nothing bad should ever happen. And that is exactly why it was dangerous. In October of 1994, 3 film students traveled to the small town of Burkittsville, Maryland, to document a local legend known simply as the Blair Witch. Heather Donahue was the leader, confident, ambitious, obsessed with realism. She wanted the story to feel authentic, raw, undeniable. She got what she wanted. Joshua Leonard came for the experience. He believed in stories, but not in curses. He thought fear was something you could turn off once the camera stopped recording. Michael Williams came because someone had to keep things grounded. He trusted logic, directions, structure, the idea that everything had a reasonable explanation. None of them understood that the forest did not care what they believed. Burkittsville welcomed them politely, but not warmly. The townspeople spoke carefully, as if each word needed permission to exist. When Heather asked about the witch, there were long pauses, downward glances, quick changes of subject. An old man spoke of children who vanished in the 1940s, 7 of them, one by one, taken from their homes at night, found days later, deep in the woods, arranged in pairs, hands bound. A woman recalled her grandmother warning her never to enter the forest alone, not because something would attack her, but because something would follow her home. Another man refused to speak at all once the camera turned on. He simply shook his head and walked away, whispering something Heather couldn't hear. But the camera caught it. She doesn't like being watched. Heather laughed it off. That laughter would not last long.
They entered the forest early the next morning. The path was clear at first. Leaves crunched under their boots. Birds called from somewhere above. Sunlight filtered through branches like soft smoke. Heather narrated confidently, describing the trees, the map, the plan. Everything was under control. Hours passed. The trail narrowed. The forest thickened. The air felt heavier, warmer, even though the weather had not changed. They set up camp before sunset. That night, the forest made its first sound. It was distant, faint, almost gentle, a low moaning, drifting through the trees. Josh thought it was wind. Michael said it was animals. Heather recorded everything. The sound continued until morning. The second day, they realized something was wrong. They had been walking for hours, yet the scenery did not change. The same rock, the same bent tree, the same cluster of roots crossing the trail like fingers. Michael checked the compass. It pointed north. Heather checked the map. The creek should have been close. Josh joked about being turned around. Then they saw the stick figures. Small, crude, hanging from branches with twine made of bark. Dozens of them, swaying gently, each one twisted into a shape that suggested a human body, but never quite right. Arms too long, legs bent backward, all of them facing the campsite.
No one touched them. That night, the sounds returned. Closer this time, footsteps, slow, deliberate, circling the tent, breathing, so close Heather could hear moisture in it. No one slept.
On the third morning, Josh was gone. His sleeping bag lay empty, undisturbed. No blood, no tracks, no sign of a struggle. His voice echoed from somewhere deep in the forest, calling Heather's name, crying, begging. Michael ran toward it. The voice stopped instantly. They found Josh's backpack by the river later that day. Inside were his belongings, neatly arranged, his shoes, his notebook, his teeth. Heather screamed until her voice cracked. The forest watched. They tried to leave. The map was gone. Heather admitted she had thrown it into the river during an argument. She said it didn't matter. She said the forest would lead them out. The forest did not correct her. That night, the tent shook. Not violently, not suddenly, but with intention. Something pressed against the fabric. Hands, shapes. Heather whispered apologies, not prayers, apologies, promises, anything. When morning came, the tent was untouched, as if nothing had happened. They walked until their legs failed, until hunger became pain, until the sounds began to follow them openly. Children laughing, Josh screaming, Heather sobbing in the dark. And then they saw the house, an abandoned structure deep in the forest, wood rotting, windows blackened, standing where no house should ever stand. They went inside. The walls were covered in handprints, children's handprints. The basement stairs descended into darkness. Michael stood facing the corner. Heather screamed. The camera fell. The footage ends there, but the story does not, because the forest is still there, and it remembers. If you ever find yourself walking where paths seem familiar, if you hear your name spoken by a voice you trust, if the trees feel closer than they should be, do not run. She loves that, and she is very patient.